તમારે good afternoon to all of you. In today's session, we will discuss with the next point for the application layer. We will discuss Telnet and many functionalities of Telnet. Okay, fine. Yes, what is Telnet? Everything I will cover. And in the last session, I have discussed about socket programming, right? So let me just revise a few points. Okay, how many types of socket programming we have discussed? Which one? Correct. Chalo, UDP means UDP. Correct. User Datagram Protocol. TCP. Correct. And TCP is reliable or unreliable? Okay. If I create the socket and connection is TCP, so how it is created? Datagram or byte stream? Yes, correct. If it is TCP, then it's a byte stream. Wear your mask properly, everyone, and stop your internal discussions. Okay. Then we have discussed about the syntax, how you can create the socket for TCP as well as for the UDP. Okay. Now we will go with the next point. See, many ports are used in a network. So I have summarized few ports which you have to remember. Just a second. Let me present my that screen. And that all of you have to remember. Okay. As I told, many ports are used for many protocols in a network, and it majority are handled at a application layer. So this we have to remember. Parallelly, you can note down in your book. Like first we have discussed FTP, that is file transfer protocol. So two port we have discussed for connection establishment and for the data transmission. Right? So port number 20 and 21 are used for FTP. And connections are also given, whether it is TCP or UDP, right? So if the TCP, these two ports are used, 20 and 21. Parallelly note down in your book. If you need this, I will provide it to you. But recently I have seen one question in a 7 mark. 7 protocols are given and you have to write the port number. So it's very like you just have to remember and you score good marks, right? In a any competitive exams also, like it can be asked that what is the port number for FTP. So at that time you have to select 20 and 21 like that. Okay. Next, today we will discuss SSH. Okay. Now SSH. So that is secure cell. Right? It is again work with application layer. In port number used, that is 22. Right? So this you have to remember. Okay, now the next one, Telnet, that also I will cover today. So for that, the port number 23. Telnet port number 23 is used. We have discussed SMTP protocol for electronic mail. right? That is simple mail transfer protocol. So for that, port number 25 is used in a network. IPsec, internet protocols for that IP address and that functionalities you will learn IPv4 header and IPv6 header in network layer. So that will come under IPsec. And for that, the port number is 50 and 51 are used. So right now you just note down this one, then we will go with the next. Now also we have learned about DNS in detail, domain name system or server. So for that, port number 53 will use in a network. And in a practicals, whenever we are doing practicals, so in a type we are getting DHCP. So that is dynamic host configuration protocol, and the port number is used 6768. Whenever you find two port, so first will be for data connection and second one is for data transferring. Right? That is the reason at some protocols, two port are used, 20 and 21, 50 and 51. So one port will be for connection establishment, second one for the data transfer. Now we have discussed FTP. Advancement of that is TFTP, that is Tribal File Transfer Protocol. And for that the port number is 69. HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol that we have discussed in detail in this unit, port number 80 is used. POP3 also we have discussed in SMTP. So that 110. NNTP, it will handle the functionality related to news, right? So network news transport protocol, port number is 119. So for this unit, this much of ports are important right now. So note down it and try to maintain a social distance. We are having too much benches. In a one part, two students okay, but why four? For your safety, just separate. Make sure you note down that port numbers for every protocols which we have learned in this unit. Remaining I will cover once we will come to that point. Have you noted down this or you need a time? Okay, so I hope all of you have noted down this. Now we'll go with the next theory point. Okay, now we will learn about Telnet. See, in our day-to-day life, we are using like on your system, you log into any server. If you want to access internet, first you have to log into Sonic Watch. So while you are entering the user and password, it will allow you to access that server, right? Whether this is for NEFGA server or any functionality. So remote login functionality, basically known as a telnet. We will discuss in detail, but for easy understanding, right? You will remember telnet is a functionality or it's a kind of protocol which will handle remote login. Right? Okay. Remote login means what? Client is available physically at one location and server is available at another location. Still we are able to access that services. So remote login related functionalities are going to handle by Telnet. Okay, so let's give the title Telnet. We will discuss one by one point. First thing that like our requirement where client server scenario is required, we have discussed two paradigm, client server paradigm and peer-to-peer paradigm. Now your requirement is related to client server paradigm. At that time you can use this telnet functionality. Okay, so your specific services to corresponding client, that means client server paradigm is there. Sometimes what happens, it is a generic mode. That means for every client, the same scenario will be followed for the request or for the remote login from client to the server. But sometimes our requirement is like we need to provide the services to specific client for specific functionality. Say for example, at our Marwadi University, we are accessing same server, but students are having some specific rights. Faculties are having some specific rights. HOD cells are having their another rights, right? So when you need to provide the specific services to specific client and server, at that time you can go with the telnet, right? So this you have to remember that for the specific client server program, a set of common scenarios. At that time we can do this, right? We'll go with the diagrams also. But this you have to remember that why we need a telnet. Okay. And it is used for remote login application. Whatever I am underlining over here, that point you have to note down from this whole slide. Just give the title. Whatever the point I have underlined, just note down that only. No need to copy paste, right? Okay. Just do that. Okay. Now let's go with the next point. What kind of services are provided by the Telnet? So first thing, it will provide the remote login. And nowadays we need what? We need because local logins are only available when internet comes. But nowadays user prefer remote logins. Like as I told, your server is available physically at another place and you are at another place. Like you are not available within the campus. Still you are able to access MEFJ portal. You are remotely doing the login, right? So local versus remote functionalities basically handled by the Telnet. Second one, NVT we will discuss. Like it is a network virtual terminal. For a login, you need to provide your username, password, it verification, it is correct or not. If it is correct, then and then it will allow you to access that functionality. So whole that process, we need some interface, we need some terminal through which this functionality will be handled in a network. So NVT will be used, network virtual terminal, right? So just note down this. NVT. Second one, we need a user interface, right, for this functionality where you will enter your data. We need some interface and many options for a remote login. Okay, so these are the functionalities will be handled by Telnet. So just note down this step, only points. We will discuss this all points in details with diagrams, but these are the points or functionalities handled by Telnet. So you just note down these points. Okay, now let's go with the first point, local versus remote login. Okay. Remote login or local login, first we will discuss, right? So first scenario is the local login where you are having your terminal. That means inside your network you are having this functionality. Local login can be related to your own system also. Like in your network, in your local area, you create your personal area network. So you are having only one device. And inside it, it contains operating system. Operating system you are learning in this semester, right? Okay. So where this data will be available in a memory, and memory is a part of this operating system, right? Okay. So if the network you have created that is only for personal area network, so that will be considered as a local area network or a local login. Like many function, sometimes if you use observe, like you are accessing many website in your Chrome browser, so somewhere it will store your username and password. Next time when you will access, it will directly will be there and you are allowed to log in, right? So that will be considered as a local login. That data will be available in your system only, in your operating system. So that is the first thing, that is local login. Just give the title and draw the diagram. So you need a terminal, you need programs, like whatever the file you are accessing in a browser or on your system, that will be handled through terminal drivers. And it will be in an operating system. So these are the parameters for the local login. Next, that is remote login. Remote means your client is connected through internet to that server. So one scenario you can consider, this one is for the client side and this one is for the server side. So at the client end, it having a terminal, its operating system, drivers also required. Many layers are there. Like physical layer which will provide the connection to the server through the internet. Dynamic layer, it will convert that message into frame. Then IP, that is network layer, so it will provide a related functionality to the IP addressing, like source IP address, destination IP address. TCP, that is related to connection, because it is a transmission control protocol, so connection oriented protocol. Right? It will make the connection from the client side to the server side. Same way, the functionalities at the client side is available at the server side. Now, any client wants to access any data from the server, that will be through internet. Previously, it is within the system, but now, because for the remote login, internet will be intermediate between client and server. Like sometimes what happens, if internet is working in your system, then and then you are able to access that website or any functionality. Like your data is stored on your Google Drive, but you need the internet to download the data to access that services, right? Okay, so for the remote login, Client will be available in some place, server will be available in another place, but through the internet, they are able to send and receive the data or allow for the remote logging. What can be the advantage of remote login? Yes,
We
correct.
can
Other points? Okay. See, if you just complete the diagram, then also you are able to give the answer. One point is correct, right? Remotely you can access from anywhere. Oh, yes, correct. Yes. At a client side, maybe Windows. At a server side, maybe another operating system. But still, it will provide the service. Okay. Another point. See, in a local, everything on a one system, right? So data congestion will increase or more or not. Whereas over here, in a remote logging, like server client side system is there, mechanism is there, server side mechanism is different. So it will handle that much of request and will provide the response. So functionality is more, remote logging. So is there any doubt in this point? Remote versus local? Okay. Now we have to discuss NVT. What was the full name NVT? That is the reason I told to note down something. Network virtual terminal. Okay. See, network virtual terminal. Now virtual means not physically present at that location. It can be anywhere. But network terminal means any device. Client side or server side. It can be mobile phone, it can be laptop, or it can be desktop. In this diagram, the terminal is one laptop system. First, just understand the concept. Okay. Now, this local computer, it will connect to this client side Telnet. Okay. So it will allow for the remote login or local login. In this case, from the terminal to Telnet client, it will be local login because that is on the same path. Then from that client to the internet to the server. Server side again, it will maintain the all the information. So that will be in the form of pseudocode. Pseudocode. Like as a human, we understand the name, but system understand binary. Like if you want to represent 4, what we know ASCII values. Like for the capital A, it is 65. Small a, it is 98. Same way, pseudocode is nothing but the language which machine understand, right? So server side it will maintain that, and now many drivers will require to access these functionalities. Okay. Now from client's local computer, it will maintain it as a character set. That information will be in the form of character set. So for example, your username. So it contains many characters, right? Your email ID contains the characters. Same your name also contains the number of characters set, right? Whereas system understands binary. So need to convert that data into machine understand form. And control characters. That means that related to pseudocode, which machine understand. So character set over here data character means it is client side. And control characters will be at the server side. These are used to handle the functionality of the server. Second thing, Data character, the first bit will be 0. For the control character, the first bit will be 1. So that you have to remember. So just go with the functionality of NVT, Network Virtual Terminal. What it will do, it will provide the interface between the client and the server in a internet. That is the reason it is a virtual terminal. Terminal is nothing but through which data will pass in a network. We will discuss many commands for this interface from the client to the server or for this terminal. That we will discuss next, but this is all about the concept of NVT. It can be asked, so at that time you have to draw the diagram first. So just do that. Okay. Now let's go with the command which are used for this interface. So first, see, we will have to establish the connection whether it is from client to server, right? So first command will be open. So it will provide the connection. So we will discuss one by one. Like to connect a remote computer in a network, first command will be open. Second one, to close the connection. First, once we have established the connection, sender will send the request, server will give the response. Then to terminate the connection, close command will be used. And whatever the request is sent by the client, to display that outcome, the command is display. Like on your monitor screen, we are able to view this PPT. So it displays something. So display command will be used. First, you note down that three. Now, in the previous diagram, we have discussed about character set and data set. So for that, the command will be used like a mode. Mode command will be used for this functionality. Few commands related to data transfer. So first one is set. So what it will do? It will set the operating parameters. For the display status, a status command will be used. And if you want to send any kind of special characters, so at that time send command is used. And the last one, that is to exit from the telnet, like you want to log out from that remote login, so command is quit, right? So these are the commands are used for this interface, or you can say that for the remote login. But there are some issues like security related functionalities are not there in a telnet. Anyone can access the data once they have remotely logged in. So we need some mechanisms to provide the security also. So advancement of the telnet is SSH, that I will discuss next. First, you just note down this command, right? We will discuss. That was the issue, or you can say the disadvantage of telnet. That security is less concern over here, so we have to focus on that. First thing, SSH, that is secure cell, right? Secure cell, SSH. So it is related to how to secure a functionality, whether it is client side or it is server side. Like when you have entered your username and password, so in a network, if you not focus on that and directly will pass the data, so any hacker can hack that data. So we need to provide the security. And as a server side, whatever data is submitting to the client, another can easily interpret it. So it will become a difficult. So we need to provide the security. So SSH is a secure application program, and that can be used on a several purposes. Like for the remote login, you can use SSH. For the file transfer, we are doing this, right? For the file transfer, we can use. And ultimately, it was designed to replace the telnet, because in a telnet, they have not focused on a security. So that is the reason SSH was designed or come in a network. So it will focus on more to provide the security of the data. So first you note down this first point. Over here it will give the functionality of SSH, which is remote login, file transfer, and basically it is used to replace the telnet by providing the more security to the data. That's how you have to remember the functionality of SSH. Basically, two versions are SSH available in a network, SSH1 and SSH2. But in a one, what happens that again it have some that level of security are not available. So nowadays we are using second version. We will start discussing for SSH in next session, because we have to discuss with the diagram. So till now, is there any doubt? Any student at any point?
No doubt, ma'am.
Just give me a second to start the attendance. I will take the number. You have to write in a chat. Yes.